Okay, so I want to come on here to talk about whether or not we are in alt season because listen, I know nobody wants to talk about alts because Bitcoin has been leading the way when in the crypto market for many years now, and for the most part altcoins have bled to Bitcoin. So I get it. However, Bitcoin would not be where it is today without retail, and retail is in the alt market. So it's important to be part of this conversation. And so all I want to do today is provide at least my 2 cents of where I think we are in the cycle, whether or not we're in alt season, and what just happened within the last 2 days. So within the last 2 days, we saw a huge increase in price. 48 hours, we saw alts like XRP go up here about like 70%, right? And so a lot of people are wondering, like, are we in alt season? And so TLDR, I do not think we're in alt season, but I do think we're at the tail end of the bear market. Now, could I be wrong? Of course. However, probability wise, risk wise, and from looking at my charts, I feel much more comfortable in the idea that this is a pump that we will probably double bottom and we still have a ways to go. And that just really comes down to maybe about 2 indicators. So again, I'm part of a conversation, but I think a lot of us in retail are looking at each other going, did you know? I didn't know. We usually build the rallies. We build the communities. So to see it coming away from our hands, even though a lot of us have, our bags packed and we've had them for a long time, we're looking around going, I know, I don't know what's going on. So I want to talk about what I think is happening, where I think this money is coming from, and where we're going. And so if we take a look at something like XRP and we take a look at this move that happened within the last 2 days, it was like about a 70% move. And so when I saw this, I'm thinking, oh no, I'm really worried about people making really rash decisions. So I actually made a video here. If you want to check it out, here's my Twitter. And I talk about, I understand there's a lot of economic pressure happening right now. We're seeing inflation around every corner of the economy. We're seeing unemployment rise. We're seeing people not making as much money in their jobs as they used to. And so this can really breed an environment that people make, some really rash and last minute decisions because they're seeing their net worth decrease, and then they're seeing crypto go up and thinking like, I could have increased my net worth by like 50% in 24 hours. Like, what am I missing out on? So I can understand the FOMO. And what's crazy is even us who, we've been DCing, if we're experiencing that FOMO, which I know a lot of us were, because we're thinking like, I've been trying to track XRP to deploy a pretty sizable, position. And when it hit that 99 cents, it was like, okay, the time has come. But I was still taking a look at it. I just didn't expect a 68% move that quickly. So you can only imagine what people who aren't in crypto are feeling. So I wanted to make that video. And then we saw almost immediately after I made this video, this flash crash, almost down, almost 20%, 18 points, so about 19%. So what do I think happened and where I think this money is coming from? One, this is not going to be okay. So one, I think obviously longs got liquidated. I think a lot of people felt that pressure of like, if I don't get on this train, it's going to leave without me. And then putting pressure, putting these long positions last minute, and then getting liquidated. And why this move went so violently down, it's because it went so violently up. But why did it go so violently up? It's because I think it's not retail, and I think it is exactly what Trump has built this economy to be. I actually wrote about this on my Substack. You guys should check it out. where we're seeing a lot of extremely wealthy people making these really big moves because they're trying to take advantage of the Trump economy. And it's not you and me. It's not the average person. It's a small number of elites, very wealthy people or institutions that have insider access. And we've seen that with Trump literally selling his Truth Social posts for $100,000 a month membership. That's not you and me. That's not the average person. So here I talk about it here. If you guys want to check it out, I literally wrote about this April 14th, 2025, how he basically uses tariffs and market panic to build a loyalist state so that he is the central signal of access to wealth. And what that allows him to do is basically create a lever when he says things are going to go up, it's going to go up. When things go down, it's go down, because then it creates that dependency. And then it creates that, it creates a dependency upon him and access to him and loyalty to him. And so that he has greater control over the economy, because that is the thing that he promised to his base, that above everything else, we were supposed to have this amazing economy, but at the end of the day, we're seeing it benefit insiders. And so, it started with tariffs, and it started with tariffs, then the NASDAQ, and essentially flushing out retail investors and handing over cheap assets to the wealthy, where Trump and his inner circle profit handsomely, right? He is himself making millions in the market rebounds sparked by Trump's own buy the dip cues. And market conditions are essentially where market stability is replaced by personal allegiance to Trump. So I think that's part of this equation of how this economy is moving. And that's something that he's been curating for a long time. I think the second factor is the news of the Treasury buyback, because Trump has been pressuring the Fed to enact QE for a very long time. Because what happened the last time we had QE, it was during his first term. And that was during that Black Swan event of the COVID pandemic. The Fed enacted QE, and we saw a crypto market, a crypto bull run that included Bitcoin and the entire alt market. And we saw incredible gains during that time. And so because of that economy promise that he ran on for his platform, he's really trying to pressure the Fed to enact QE, because high risk assets like crypto are going to do well. The stock market's going to do well. And he's there to, profit for himself and profit for his insiders. And essentially why this needs to happen is because we are in a capitalist economy, and capitalism profits well off capital, and capital mainly in real estate and assets like stocks, or any type of asset that you don't have to, that you can basically inflate. So inflation is a very, very necessary part of increasing the capitalist wealth. That's just part of the equation. So we had that, and then obviously the Clarity Act, the announcement of of the integration of crypto, and so that announcement, I think that was on Wednesday. And then the Clarity Act, essentially, which is what they're trying to do to solve the debt crisis by transferring our debt onto a stable coin and then forcing everybody to use that stable coin. So it's beyond just like the world reserve currency. It would be the world currency, especially one currency, right? Everyone would be incentivized, I guess, to use it. And so you can get people to buy US debt that way. And that's definitely one of the larger roadmap aspirations for this for him and his billionaire friends, because at the end of the day, Trump is a one percenter and we are in the Trump economy. So it's important to acknowledge exactly how the 1% is moving. And I think this violent move that we saw was because it's a very small number of people with a lot of money and they're looking to inflate their assets. Um, because when you have also inflated assets, you can borrow against it, and then you don't actually have to pay taxes. And it's just right. It's this capitalistic structure that allows a very small number of people to be extremely wealthy. And so I think that is a big part of it. And at the end of the day, like I said, I'm only part of a conversation. And what I can contribute is that I don't think, even with this big pump, this is not something that's strange to a bear market. We can see these pumps. Let's take like XRP, or well, let's take ETH for examples. We're on I know we're not on the logarithmic scale, but just bear with me. And I'm sorry, this actually I should probably open up another window because I have a lot on here. It's not, we here's one. Yeah, I had this here. Here is, June 20. Oh, that one's, yeah, that's a good one too. But let's take this one. So this was on the way, this is QE, right? This was on the way up to the actual bull market rally. And within that bear market, we saw like 300%, right? Or here, 181%. Or we can take this bear market. No, hold on. We can take this bear market. If we can call this a bull rally, then we can take this one and see 80% here, and we double bottomed. But so it's not, the reason it feels like it could be is because it just happened so quickly. But we're talking about months of this building up before, where now it's just taking 48 hours. And my other indicator that I'm looking at is the golden and death cross. So if we take a look at that, we are on the precipice of a death cross. I mean, I would not put money in right now. I'm not deploying any more cash into any of my positions, or I'm not putting in a position right now when we have a death cross around the corner. Right here, death crosses on the 1 week really mark the bottoms of the bear market for, like, let's say ETH, XRP. Here's another really good example. Actually, this is probably the cleanest example. Death cross, and we are about to hit a death cross soon. So now, if I'm relying on probability, I am not putting in a position when we're that close to a death cross. We could see another bottom. We could see this completely falling apart and hitting lows we've never seen. I don't know. When you have an economy based off a person, that is very dangerous because you don't know what's going to happen with this person. And that's definitely another conversation for another day. But there's so much uncertainty, and it's not a position I would want to be in, especially where if you're at the death cross. Let's take a look at the death cross again. A lot of these. Okay, so here you go. If we take a look at this pattern, right? When we come down on the MACD, we come down and we come over
and then we finally go up, and that could mark the low. Same, come down, curl up, and then that can mark the low. Now we're going down, curling up. We're not there. We haven't even hit zero. I mean, we have a way to go. It's not far fetched if we're talking about, a bull market in the springtime of 2027, which can make the low coming up in Q4, which would coincide with a possible low for Bitcoin in Q4. Who knows? It could still be going up. But I'm just taking a look at this and going, that is not, I do not want to put it in a position here. Would I DCA in? Yes, but do I think like this is the beginning of the bull market? I do not. So, anyway, let me know what you guys think. I'd love to hear your thoughts on it, and definitely check out my Substack.